Well, everybody, the 2009 NFL season has officially come to an end, and a lot happened this season that I felt was very memorable. Peyton Manning becoming the fourth person in NFL history to throw more than 50,000 yards. We saw some incredible upsets, such as the Browns beating the Steelers and late in the season, and a whole bunch of other events. We also got to see quite a very memorable playoffs this season. I mean, we saw the highest scoring playoff game ever between the Packers and the Cardinals. The Cardinals, of course, beating the Packers 51-45, making it a total of 96 points scored in a playoff game. And of course, we got to see what I felt was one of the best Super Bowls of all time, the Colts versus the Saints. And I was pretty disappointed that the Colts did not win. I was really hoping the Colts would win it, but I do have to give the Saints a lot of credit for that game. I mean, that onside kick at the start of the third quarter, I did not see coming, nor did anyone else. And managing to get the job done, winning the Super Bowl 31-17. So congrats to the Saints for winning their first Super Bowl that they've ever been in. And wish the Saints the best of luck. But anyways, the reason why I'm making this video is because I have a feeling that the 2010 NFL season is going to be much bigger than the 2009 NFL season, because we're having a lot of great prospects that will be in the NFL this next season. I mean, you got people like Colt McCoy, Tim Tebow, and a few others that are entering the draft, and who knows what teams they'll get drafted to. Of course, Colt McCoy, hopefully he'll get over his shoulder injury pretty quickly, because in that game against Alabama, it's like, I knew after that shoulder injury there was no way that Texas was going to beat Alabama. But anyways, who knows who's going to get drafted to what teams. We'll find out in a few weeks or months or whenever the draft is. But anyways, here's what I'd want to see happen at the end of the next season. Like I already compiled a list of AFC and NFC teams that I'd like to see make the playoffs, and it may not happen. Like, I know some of the teams will make it to the playoffs, but some won't. But here are the teams that I'd like to see make it into the playoffs the next season. For the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts, that's a given since they're my favorite football team. The Baltimore Ravens, because I want to see Ed Reed score more interceptions before he decides to retire. Ed Reed is my all-time favorite defensive player in football. The Denver Broncos, well, a lot of fans would love to see the Denver Broncos make the playoffs again. The Miami Dolphins, they came so close yet so far. Let's see, the Oakland Raiders. Yes, I am somewhat of a Raiders fan, and I know that some people may call them cheaters, but hey, who cares? I'd want to see the Raiders make it to the playoffs again. And the Cleveland Browns. And the reason why I picked the Cleveland Browns is because I feel that they do have the potential to make it to the playoffs this next season. I mean, yes, they did play horribly for most of the 2009 season, but their final 4 games, they really played playoff-style football. I mean, sacking Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers 8 times and pulling off a huge upset against them started their momentum for winning games. And I feel that if they play the way they did at the end of the last season, I feel that they could make it to the playoffs. And here are the 6 NFC teams that I'd like to see make it to the playoffs this upcoming season. The New Orleans Saints, of course, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, so you gotta expect them to make it to the playoffs again. The Green Bay Packers, you know, they made it to the playoffs with a wild card spot, and they put on an incredible football game. I mean, even though they lost because of that defensive play, which the Cardinals played very perfectly, I might add. You know, they managed to score without getting penalized, and, you know, they played it to the point where nothing could go wrong. I'd love to see the Packers make it to the playoffs again. The Dallas Cowboys, yes, I am in Texas, so obviously I gotta root for the Cowboys to make it to the playoffs again, and hopefully they'll get farther and they won't get squashed in the divisional round like they did against the Vikings. Let's see, the San Francisco 49ers. I grew up in the Bay Area, so obviously I gotta root for them also. And I feel that they could make it to the playoffs this upcoming season. The New York Giants, you know, Eli Manning, and I feel that he can shine again, and I'd love to see that happen again. And the Atlanta Falcons, you know, just to mix things up. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't include the Minnesota Vikings or the Arizona Cardinals in my picks for the NFC. Well, the reason being is because Kurt Warner of the Arizona Cardinals, he has retired, and who knows how the Arizona Cardinals are going to fare without Kurt Warner. I have no doubt that they're going to win in some games this upcoming season, but how exactly are they going to perform offensively? That remains in question. And for the Minnesota Vikings, we have Brett Favre. Who knows if he's going to stay another season or not? It's still up in the air, and something only Brett Favre knows, so who knows. But yeah, those are my picks on who I'd like to see in the playoffs this upcoming season. But anyways, there's another thing that I'd like to discuss. It's a specific rule that I'd like to see changed this upcoming season in the NFL. And some of you may agree or disagree with it, but I want them to do away with the rule that says in the final 2 minutes of each half that coaches cannot challenge plays, that instead all plays are to be reviewed by replay officials upstairs. And the reason why I say this is because if the coaches themselves challenge plays to be reviewed, I'm cool with it. It's their right to do so. They, they know exactly what constitutes a play to be challenged. But when you take that power away from the coaches in the final 2 minutes of a half, it can cause some controversy, as was seen in the Bottlegate incident and the Tuck Rule game. If you don't know what those are, look them up on YouTube. There are plenty of videos, well, at least on the Tuck Rule game. As with Bottlegate, the Bottlegate incident, there's only like 1 or 2 videos on YouTube. But anyways, another reason why I want this rule to be done away with was during the Saints versus Vikings game in the NFC Championship game. In overtime, there were 3 replays initiated, and all 3 of the plays stood. The first 2, I knew there was absolutely no possibility for those plays to be overturned. The third one, it could have gone either way, but it turned out to be in favor of the Saints. So the reason why I want the rule to be done away with, saying that coaches cannot challenge in the final 2 minutes or in overtime, is to avoid controversy. And I know that some of you are obviously going to disagree with me wanting that rule to be done away with. Some of you will agree with it, but if you agree with it or don't agree with my opinion on that rule being done away with, feel free to post a response saying why or why not it should be done away with. But anyways, that's my thoughts on this season of the NFL and what I'd like to see in the next season in the NFL. Thanks for watching.